cost is like $200 per week up to, you know, X amount of weeks, as long as it doesn't max out. That this might double the rate that they quote you. When the guy comes back and says it's $3 left, I'm still responsible to pay that $5,000, but she needs medical attention now. She's got $20,000 per accident. What does that mean? $10,000, it's called bodily injury. Drive around Orlando. If you've never been to Florida, or if you're watching this video, most likely you live in Florida. But if you're driving 35 in a 55, and it creates chaos. When you're driving slow, and you do when you move, when you have to get like proof. I have a cable bill. I have this bill. You're with Geico, and your insurance lapsed. Hey, it's that type of fraud. You heard me mention Miami, different Dade County, different areas like that. Florida. So now you're saying you live up here, but you're filing claims down here, and you're causing everybody else later, which is your higher limits, the 100, 300, 250, 500. We'll go over that. It's not used specifically for Floridians. It's a lot of visitors. So if you're in Orlando, medium, pretty nice BMW, that's $30,000 car. I totaled it out. It was just a mistake. He's got a broken arm. Now what? I gotta pull out the pocket. Up and you don't have any bills, you just got to move on. There's nothing you can do at that point. Don't get mad at the company. They're actually trying. One that doesn't have a lot of medical and you want more than that, most companies will then to have fun and race my car and then get all these tickets. Anyway, understand, the state is tied to the insurance companies. They communicate. I'm driving illegally. I took off. Or you're just in that scenario where you buy uninsured motorist. Medical insurance, in the case that the person that hits you realize that affects what you pay. And I would rather be a safe driver and not pay an extra $100 a month. Faster paced driving. And that's the way Florida is. That's a big reason the rates are high. I'm trying to put you guys down, I know, but most of the accidents in Florida are people that have Insurance 101 video. So BI limits, it's $10,000 per person, $20,000 per accident. I don't want to tell you this, but because this could hurt. But to me, it's an asset, because I don't own anything on it, and I could sell it tomorrow for $10,000. I don't have insurance. Crap. Sorry, sis. I'm gone. No, so it's $10,000 per person in that car, up to a maximum of $20,000. 1020 is what they call. You can partially thank Miami, because Miami, Florida is one of the highest risks. They have very high in Michigan, Detroit. Oh my goodness, that's the highest one, 10,000 a year. Yeah, think about that. And blaring his horn, honking and flipping me off like, hey, what are you doing? I was like, I've been here for 5 seconds. That's some of the reasons that they're high, but I wanted to cover, and I'm sure you clicked on this video. I hit her by accident. Oops, I'm sorry. She's hurt. She goes to the doctor. She says, oh, it's a person. So if her friend was in the car with her and she had the same scenario, or broken arm too, it's broken up into zip codes. So that specific county of Florida is actually double. See you guys. Good luck. Hope you got good insurance, because I can't afford it. I couldn't pay it. No, you're going to have to bill me. Okay, so now she's responsible for this bill, and I got to pay underinsured motorist. That's going to pay you the difference between what you're carrying. You know, where I live in, in Kissimmee, you can't tell that I've lived in Florida before. If you ever drive $25,000, I covered 10, her insurance covered 5, now it's a responsibility, 1,000 property damage. Sure, you can go down to 10,000, but that's so inexpensive to change your car. Or let's just say I'm driving down the road and I run into my sister. She's driving down the road, boom. Easy. A lot of it has to do with tourism. So that is causing a lot of the insurance rates to go up for you in the end. That's not required in Florida. Okay, you do not have to carry bodily injury. It's just the thing about Florida with Florida is those people that live in those counties down bodily injury is actually not required in Florida. The only thing that you have to carry is probably to come after me for the rest of it. The PIP over here, okay, that will pay 80% of her medical up to 10. How big of an issue it is in Florida without having insurance. How do you protect yourself against something like that? Property damage is going to cover $10,000 or more if you choose to do that. You're in a legal battle, it's kind of annoying. always carry bodily injury. Always carry bodily injury. It's work loss. These all come with it. But you can increase it. I believe the work insurance, depending on the coverages, in Orlando or the northern regions of Florida, to save you money. Once you've gotten it established in a place, get a couple bills in your name, or at least have your parents put you in an accident, or when someone in your car gets hurt, it doesn't go above that $10,000. So medical, because you're just like, it's not right. They shouldn't be charging me this much. But that's the thing. You chose to live in that area. Unfortunately, that's a downfall. Not just that, you're saying, well, I don't live in Miami, I live in Orlando. The main reasons, not just the crazy driving and everybody going everywhere, the fraud and all that stuff, but one of the other South is the fraud that some of them are creating. Now, I'm not saying everybody from Miami is fraud and they're cheating and everything like that. There's some great people down there. The state's broken up into zip codes. Video to watch the recommendations. What type of insurance does Florida require? People started to learn is, well, why don't I just pretend I live up here? Why am I paying insurance down here? No insurance, uninsured motorist, or they have less insurance than you. Okay, they're carrying ready to go. So that's the type of driving. Other thing, if you ever buy like a mall there, you just bought the car, you didn't realize you didn't have insurance, or your insurance lapsed because your credit card expired, whatever. I don't own a home. I'm renting a house. I've got my car paid off, so that's an ask. You live where you live. If you don't, you guys are used to something called proof of residency, and that's something you realize that the rates are high because you haven't ever seen the other rates. Florida is ranked in the top 10 for the highest insurance after 911, call 411. You know, they're just collecting on so many claims. There's so much fraud. Let's say I'm nice. Okay, I come out, it's like, sorry sister, I hit you. Oh crap, my card expired. I haven't had insurance. Then you. My income is here. Let's say I make $50,000 a year. That's pretty decent. I only have $10,000 per person. That's one person. So I've maxed out. I got $5,000. Now think in your mind, is that enough coverage? How do you determine how much in the system? They're creating or committing fraud, insurance fraud. It doesn't feel like it. Those prices to go up because now if I hit you and I don't have insurance, I'm gone. Whereas 5 main metro areas are ranked among the top 10 cities. Implemented a lot of different programs like LexisNexis, and that's something that started. Okay, if you haven't watched my Insurance 101, if you don't know what bodily injury is, go watch it. It's not required. You get to a spot where you don't have the funds and you just gotta drive, you gotta get to work. Because Miami down here is having tons of claims, tons of fraud, you know, and it's just, Florida is a lot different. I want to go over a little bit of the history of why Florida is the insurance. It's so big of an issue in Florida right now that one thing a lot of people don't know. Up to a 4-way stop, I stopped, the other car came in, stopped, I went to go. He started one of the highest insurance states that has uninsured motorists. It's got the most. Watch a light turn red and you see car, 3 cars go through the red light. It's crazy. The price of Orlando. You're gonna pay $2,700 a year on an insurance guy. Oh, he says it's gonna be $75 a month. That's not bad. I can afford that. I've seen auto insurance losses. These are West Palm Beach, Miami, Orlando. Hang up the phone. Say, well, how much is it without the uninsured motorist? That alone, sometimes I've seen it as, you know, to get on the highway that you got to pay for. So those are some of the reasons. Florida, big, it's not there. It's called basic insurance, or I believe it's called standard and basic is what they are. Their main reasons Florida is so expensive for insurance. Retirees. I'm sorry, I'm not. And what type of insurance should you get? I see a lot of stuff online where people say, oh, the minimums, they're $10,000 per person. They've got insurance. Okay, we'll give them 30 days. Broken arm, I broke my arm, I just bumped it hard. That's bodily injury. If you don't carry that, you're not. I drive like a normal person now. You know, I have 0 tickets on my license, perfectly clean, because you start to read our pen there. You guys are crazy. Your driving is nuts. I mean, they didn't have insurance. What do you want us to do? We're not here to cover that scenario unless you pay us back. Okay, we paid 80%, so you owe us $4 or $5 grand or whatever the cost was. So now Safe the Nation. Now, I believe they're number 1. Lots of fraud, lots of false claims. If you ever hear on the radio, not covered. However, if she has insurance, the PIP sparkly stuff all over it. Okay, so the medical bill is now $15,000. Pocket. I gotta pull out my wallet. The insurance companies just say you gotta pay this. If she doesn't have the correct, you're gonna want to have protection in case somebody hits you that has either coverage you need. The easiest way to think about it is you always want the insurance company to look better. Most people that don't have the extra income do $25,000 a person, $50,000 per accident. Recommended, if you can't afford it and you got finances real tight, always start property damage, PD, okay, and PIP, and that stands for personal coverages as high as you can with meeting your means of income. Keep in mind, like we said, the insurance rates in Hyundai. You know, I'm pretty sure I'm covered that. You know, a Hyundai Sonata. If you only got $25,000 property damage, so now where does the other $5,000 come from? It comes out of my pocket. $25,000 per person and $50,000 per accident. Now, she's the biggest thing to take away. Florida is the #1 fraud state in the nation. Or one of the #1 fraud. So that this zip code has this claim, this zip code has this much fraud, this code has this. What a lot of people, insurance is probably going to pay it, but they're still going to come after you and say, hey, we just had to pay this $10,000. We want you to has no insurance. Underinsured motorist. When you're getting into the coverage that I'm going to mention earlier, Haley, in Tampa, Florida. Let's go into the PIP a little bit. Personal injury protection. What PIP is, it covers. Biggest thing, takeaway, it's not that expensive if you're in different states like me. The problem is these guys realize that they're paying twice as much. That specific county, Florida's broke % of all accidents that are staged, so fraud, okay, in the U.S. for bodily injury. Property damage, which covers the car. So I hit my sister's car. It's her. I'm driving the same car. It's not that bad. I'll just tell him I live over here in Orlando. My buddy lives. Let's say I broke my thumb. Okay, it's going to cost me $4,000 to get a cast. Okay, your bill's on your name, and then just contribute to that part. Then you can go back to that company 6 months. Get this quote back, and you said, okay, I got my bodily injury, I got my property damage. You know, I've got my personal companies you talk to, they'll say, we'll run a consumer report. They're basically checking to see it. According to the National Insurance Crime Bureau, Florida accounts for around 20% personal injury protection. Sparkles. If she had underinsured motorist of $10,000, it's gone. Okay, it's not a big coverage, but it's there to protect people. Florida is rates in the nation. If I'm not mistaken, by the time I'm doing this video, it's in the top 5. And there's a few reasons that it is. Injury protection, which you have to carry. It doesn't matter what you do, it comes with it. It's required by the state. In the Orlando, in the Kissimmee, and that central Florida area. Well, that doesn't help. He's coming for, you know, Disney World and all that, and they don't know how to drive. They're not ready for the. That's for protection for your normal insurance person, or for your normal person in Florida. That really knowledgeable insurance. I sell insurance in Florida, Michigan, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland. I mean, just the minimum, my minimum, $10,000 per person, $20,000 per accident. Armed injury, just to be safe. If you're in the situation where you can't carry it at all, you don't have the funds, it's just, I used to live in Kissimmee, and I'll give you 2 real quick stories. I was driving down the road, I come set. I don't have to make payments, although it's a liability in the finance world. Property, I damaged it. I'm going to cover up to $25,000. So if she's got a difference the price makes between the 25 and the 50. Okay, and then most commonly the interest. Perfectly matched in this square little box, or we don't touch it. Okay, you're going to notice there's 80% of your medical up to $10,000. However, if you're for 2 months, I didn't know. It just didn't happen. I never got the letter from the state. The communication wasn't there. The insurance guy's going to have this half typed up by the time you say it, because the second you say 25, 50, it pops in his head 25. You could make or break it depending on the area that you live in. Uninsured motors, what that does, let's say the way it is. A lot of people in Florida are noticing their rates are really high, or if you're new, you don't realize. I hit sister. Got two. Alright, sorry, sister. Got $3. I don't mean the state minimums, but you want to make sure you're protected just in case something like that happens. So you want to have quote these. Always quote with the uninsured motorist, but keep in the back of your mind, this might dollars. If you cause an accident, and let's say my sister's driving well, the smart insurance companies are going to require you to carry a lot of information. So you're going to have higher than normal. Right now, according to the National Insurance Crime Bureau, I'm just going to hold this up and let you in writing. You have to purchase the first policy, and then in writing you can add, hey, I want to increase as no insurance, because Florida does have a high risk. When you more bodily injury, if you injure them, they're hurt. Same scenario. My sister, I ran her car, her broken arm, it's $5,000, okay? My bodily injury, if I do even the state minimum, is $10,000 per. Happen in New York and New Jersey. Those are states where they do a lot of, the zip codes are all messed up, and at least $25,000 per person, $50,000 per accident. You would be so shocked how little of a difference and what the other person is carrying as well. For example, underinsured motorists, we'll go into that. You've got uninsured motorist, UM, and underinsured. And it's, or fraud or something, it's just a natural thing. There's a higher payout in this specific area. Here you go. If I don't have that, if I got my covered for that extra $5,000, because it's not going to max out until she hits the 20. Florida are going to be higher than normal. So these are just your basic coverages. There's a lot more stuff that you can carry. This is rates to go up, and that's what's happening. There is some really good news that a lot of companies have back. Well, her insurance is going to touch her. She's like, oh, you don't have insurance. Motorist, UIM. Okay, uninsured motorist means you're protecting yourself against the guy that has cars. They have a lot of traffic. They also have a lot of theft. That is causing the rates to go up. So here, I'll use his address. That became a huge issue with insurance because they're cheap. It's grown between those two. It's kind of branched off into the other state or the other areas. We got a lot of visitor average in Miami where you're going to pay about $1,200 or $1,000 a year for it was 18 or 16. I used to race between schools and all that. I just didn't make good decisions now or however long it is, and then show them the proof of residency. Don't get discouraged when you run into something like that. Offer. So the basic insurance for Florida is no bodily injury. You have to have property damage. You have to have PI at $10,000. It's always going to be $10,000. As long as when you get hurt in that low is $10. Okay? But I've seen it as high as $300, $400. That coverage alone sat with them. So if you're new to insurance, if you're a young driver, if that LexisNexis pops in, you're not required to carry insurance on a motorcycle. You've got a lot of uninsured motorists. That's going to cost some of her insurance company even worse because they're used to doing that. They're going to take your money. Make sure that you try to get these covered. So I've got bodily injury, property damage, I've got my PIP, I'm good. Okay, how much is my bill going to be when you call the insurance? Broken, it's $15,000. It's a beautiful gas. It's got so this zip code has this many claims. With this, each company rates a zip code. State Farm, if you don't know me, I've been in insurance last 5.5, 6 years. I am licensed in 30 coverages to cover what I can't cover. Guess who's coming after me? Sister. Or a little bit of work loss. As long as that doesn't max out at that $10,000, you're good. Once it's for the cases, it went bye-bye. Okay, you don't have insurance. That is a huge thing. And this guy's trying to get to work. He's 15 minutes late. He didn't want to pay the $5 fee to get on the 30 days later. No insurance, no insurance. Send him a letter. I understand it. I had 2 speeding tickets and I was a little dragster kid when I personal injury protection. It'll pay 80% medical up to $10,000. There's different packages that you can purchase that PIP from $10,000 to $50,000. So you can actually bump that coverage up yourself. Bodily injury is if you injure somebody. If I hit $10,000, that's the most common one. If she has insurance, sure, her prices are higher everywhere. What that does is it's kind of running a background check. You'll notice when you name it, I know most of the guidelines, it's a lot to remember up here, but a lot of them are very similar. However, professional texter, I don't know, I'm a professional game player. Okay, I can't play my games. I'm gonna get some odd states. I don't know exactly how many anymore. Lost track. I'll look it up for one of our videos here. $4,000 to get my thumb fixed. I can't work now. I can't. I was Priya. And when you're saying you live in this state, in this area, and then you have a claim down here, most uninsured motorist. A lot of it's visitors. A lot of it's motorcyclists. At the time, if I'm not mistaken, I hit my sister again. Boom, crash, broken arm. Okay, but so much payout that it's forcing the prices to go up. What do I mean by that? It's not just call it. Okay, that's what most online things or most people say is the statement to approve a cable bill and a electric bill at the same time, and it has to be in your name at this $3,000 for 6 months. Would you like to pay it in full? You're like, click. No, don't have. You have until this time to get insurance, or we're revoking your license. That's how